Imagine building the biggest structure in human history. No cranes, no concrete, no machines, just hand tools, raw muscle, and a vision so bold it still shocks modern engineers. Did you catch that? No machines, no steel, just pure human willpower. This wasn't just a wall, it was a military fortress, a political statement, and a mind-blowing feat of ancient engineering, built centuries ahead of its time. Now let's rewind more than 2,200 years ago. Picture this. Qin Shi Huang becomes the first emperor of a unified China. Enemies are closing in from the north, especially the feared Xiongnu nomads. And what does he do? He needs more than just an army. He needs a barrier, something that can hold the line. So he issues a command: take the old walls built by rival kingdoms, link them together, reinforce them, extend them, fortify them. And just like that, the earliest version of the Great Wall was born. A patchwork of defenses stretching across northern China, but that was just the beginning. What we see today is mostly the work of the Ming Dynasty. They rebuilt and expanded it from the 14th to 17th centuries. But these weren't just builders, they were engineers, logisticians, and military architects. And they didn't just slap stone on stone. Oh no! They studied the terrain, calculated angles, selected materials, and coordinated massive labor forces. In flat regions, they used tamped earth, layer after layer, compacted inside wooden molds using a method called rammed earth construction. Each layer was pounded until it was solid as stone. It sounds primitive, doesn't it? But this method has lasted for over 500 years, and parts of the wall are still standing today. In mountainous areas where rock was more accessible, they used massive stones, carefully cut and placed without mortar. These sections were built to withstand both attackers and earthquakes. And in eastern parts, near Beijing, workers didn't just build the wall, they made the bricks and tiles along the wall itself. They used kilns built right along the wall, and hauling those bricks uphill wasn't easy. No diesel, no steel, just a labor force of soldiers, peasants, and prisoners. And some say, over 1 million people worked and died to build the wall. But here's the crazy part. The genius of the Great Wall wasn't just in its materials. It was in its design. Every few hundred meters, the wall includes watchtowers. These were used for signaling, with smoke by day, fire by night. In minutes, messages could be relayed across vast distances. And the placement of these towers? Not random. They were carefully calculated for line of sight across mountains and valleys. And let's talk about the wall's shape. It wasn't a straight line, it zigzags, curls, and loops. And why? Not because they didn't know geometry, but because they used the terrain to their advantage. A straight wall? Predictable, easy to breach. But a wall that snakes through natural barriers? It's a fortress in disguise. Now here's something even more mind-blowing. The wall wasn't just defensive, it was psychological. It sent a message to enemies. China is united, prepared, technologically superior. But it did more than that. The wall also helped control trade, migration, and even tax merchants traveling the Silk Road. In other words, it wasn't just a pile of bricks. It was a geopolitical machine. So, how do you build something like this without machines? Simple. You organize. You divide the work into zones, build supply roads alongside the wall, and assign generals to manage construction like a military campaign. And it worked. Because even today, parts of the wall remain intact after centuries of war, weather, and erosion. No rebar, no cement, just pure ancient engineering. The Great Wall is like a time capsule of innovation, a project so vast it spanned dynasties, so advanced it defied the limits of its era, and so durable it still defines a civilization. But here's the twist. Most people miss this. The Great Wall wasn't just built to keep enemies out, it was also a way to keep the empire in, to control its borders, its people, and its power. It was a wall of defense, yes, but also a wall of control, a wall of order, and in some ways, a wall of fear. And you know what's even more impressive? It was all built by hand, with nothing but human innovation, primitive tools, and sheer force of will. And that is why the Great Wall of China wasn't just a wall. It was the blueprint for infrastructure, military logistics, and strategic planning. A true wonder of the ancient world, not because it was big, but because it was brilliant. If this opened your eyes to just how advanced ancient civilizations truly were, now's your time to act. Smash that like button so more people see just how genius the Great Wall's creators really were. Hit subscribe if you want more deep dives into ancient tech and hidden history.